Yeah, we travel full-time all around the world filming and eating the most incredible street food, but right now we're home in New Zealand in quarantine, so we want to bring that street food experience back into the home kitchen and recreate some of the foods that we've eaten all around the world.
Today we're recreating a dish that we ate in Athens, Greece. Now we ate this incredible meal at a family-run steakhouse, and it's all about juicy, smoky pork cooked on the grill, served with a hot salad made up of tomatoes and feta and peppers, and then served with super crunchy golden chips.
It was the most quintessential Greek meal, sitting in that Greek summer sun, and I cannot wait to recreate this one here in New Zealand. I'm Thomas.
And I'm Sheena, and we're chasing a plate.
Let's get cooking. When we had this meal in Athens, it was just a fantastic experience. It was a very simple meal. So a simple meal in the best possible way. Take great ingredients, cook them well, and just let the ingredients shine. And Greece is just, it's such a sunny, warm place. You've got these beautiful fruits and vegetables, and it's summertime, or it's the end of summer in New Zealand right now, so we've got some beautiful ingredients to use while we're cooking this. But this was essentially a steakhouse, so a Greek steakhouse. They only served pork, just beautifully cooked over this giant pit of charcoal. But the thing they did is they pounded that pork so it was very, very thin before it went on the grill. Now, we don't have a meat tenderizer or a meat hammer, so I've just got a normal hammer. From the toolbox, we put a bit of cling film on there just to protect it from the actual hammer, but we've got the pork and it's time to pound it out. So we've got some pork shoulder steaks here, some beautiful fat running all through there, and we just need to pound it. So you can see it's quite thick at the moment. We need to get it nice and pound it out and get it as big as possible. So the bits at the restaurant were big. I mean, they were starting quite small, and as they pounded them out, we ended up with some huge bits of pork on our plates. So let's pound this out and get it nice and flat and tenderized.
The pork steaks came off the grill and then straight onto a huge pile of chips. So we've got to make chips here today. So I'm just peeling the spuds and then cut them up into some chip shapes. Now I'm going to parboil the potatoes. So I've got a pot of salted boiling water, and they're just going to go in for a few minutes. Now at the restaurant they would have just deep fried the potatoes, but we don't have enough oil to deep fry, so they're going straight into the oven after parboiling. It's time to work on the salad. So the salad just blew us away. It was the perfect accompaniment to the pork steaks. It's made up of feta, tomatoes, pepperoncini peppers, a bit of olive oil and oregano. And the way the restaurant served it was really neat. So they cooked the salad, it's a hot salad, over charcoal. So they popped all of the ingredients in a really thin layer on the silver tray, and then popped it directly over the charcoals, and then grabbed the silver tray and served it at the table. So what we're going to do is just chop up the tomatoes. We've got a bit of feta. We don't have pepperoncini peppers, but we do have jalapenos, so we're going to substitute those for the pepperoncini peppers. Going to dice up the tomatoes and then get them on that tray. The timer has just gone off for the potatoes. I had them in for 6 or 7 minutes, I think, and then I'm gonna just whip them into a strainer, so we don't want those to overcook. Woo, steamy! Let's get these tomatoes onto the tray. So I just cut them up in a really rough dice, chunky dice. So remember, with these recreations, we're not following a recipe, we're just thinking back on what we tasted and what the environment was like and what we actually saw when we were eating at the restaurants or at the street stalls at that time, and then trying to recreate it at home. So I've chucked that onto the plate. Now, tons of feta. It had lots of feta bubbling in amongst that tomato. So I'm just going to sort of crumble it over. This is quite a creamy feta. we're using jalapenos instead of the pepperoncini peppers that they used at the restaurant. And these are super spicy, these little babies. The ones that we ate in the dish weren't spicy at all. They were really mild, actually quite sweet. So I'm not gonna go too crazy with these jalapenos. And now I reckon just a glug of olive oil, and then a squidge of salt and pepper, some black pepper, there's not much coming out of there. And then to top it all up, a really important ingredient in Greek cooking, oregano. So this is not Greek oregano, I don't believe. Greek oregano is a lot stronger, so we might just add a little bit more than we usually would of this dried oregano. Oh, it smells really fragrant and beautiful. I've spread the ingredients really thinly onto the plate, and it's exactly like it was at the restaurant. So they cooked the plate of food right on the charcoal. So the whole plate was resting on the charcoals. And when they took the plate off of the grill and set it at the table, it was just bubbling away. All the cheese had melted, all of the tomatoes had oozed their juices out onto the plate, and so it was a beautiful bubbling mess. And that's what we're hoping will happen with this plate. The potatoes have dried out a bit, and now they need to be coated in oil and salt before they get whipped into the oven.
I have cranked up the barbecue. First thing I'm going to get on is this salad. So we're using gas, that's all we've got access to. Here we don't have an incredible pit of charcoal like they had. I really enjoyed watching them cooking in Athens on that massive charcoal grill they had, but it's gas for us, so let's get that salad on. Hopefully that starts bubbling away soon. And then I need to prepare that steak, which I hammered out earlier. So those pork steaks, I'm just gonna oil them a tiny bit and put a little bit of oregano on. Now, we did not see if they did or didn't do this, but there was definitely some oregano on the meat when it came to the table. So we figure there was just a little bit of oiling and a little bit of seasoning. So we'll just get a little bit of oil, rub it all over these nice thin steaks, and then a little bit of oregano in the mix, dried oregano again, and I'll just move it over all the steaks. Look how this salad's coming up. So it's bubbling away beautifully. That's had about 10 or 15 minutes now, just sitting on the hot flame, and it's time to get the pork on there. So let's get this pork straight onto the grill. Oh yeah, get that sizzle going. Get that cooked right up. Now, I loved watching this on the charcoal at the restaurant. So they're pounding it super thin, getting on their big charcoal pit, and he was turning it a lot while I was watching him cook it. So he wasn't just sitting it, flipped it once, he was playing with it a lot. So I'm gonna play around, get this cooked up. I am super happy with how these pork steaks look, so beautiful and golden on the barbecue. And look at that salad, the way the olive oil's in there and a little bit of oil's come out of the cheese. Let's plate this up exactly like we had it in Athens. So pile the steaks over the chips that have just come out of the oven. Look at that salad inside. Let's get eating.
That this meal looks pretty legit, and the only thing missing is a huge wedge of lemon, which the restaurant just plopped straight on top of the meat. Now, we're in quarantine, we're in lockdown, we have no lemons in the house, but what we do have is some zesty lemon juice from a bottle.
Make do with what you can find. Now, I've just realized there is something else missing from this meal.
I'm gonna liberally splash lemon juice over that lot.
Cold
yes.
beers. So in Greece, you've got to have a beer with your meal, and this meal is just made for cold beers. So let's pop into these.
It's very nifty.
All right, couple of beers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Now, let's see. This was such a pleasurable meal in Athens. It was Are you going to take this?
Yeah, sorry.
It was
just staring at the
such a lovely environment, sitting right on the street, eating this, and it was a great memory to have. So let's see how it is at home if we've managed to recreate the dish. I'm going to go with everything. Pork, chip. The salad's a little bit more
crispy,
dry and crispy than the one they gave us. That had more moisture going on. Mmm. 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 Oh, yeah. Nailed it.
It's really good.
Oh, there's a big standout difference, and that's the jalapenos. They're a very strong flavor, sharp, spicy. The true dish in Athens wasn't like that. It was a sweeter, more mild flavor.
And the tomatoes in Athens were so much juicier, really plump. The resulting salad was really sort of juicy.
Juicy, yeah. This is a little bit crunchy almost, or crispy.
But the flavors are good.
It is still an amazing salad. I would do that again, happily, but it's a little bit different to what we're going for. But
this though,
the meat has come up beautifully. This is well worth doing here. I'm gonna have meat and chip this time. The oregano flavor. And the chips have come up very well. So we weren't able to deep fry them. Don't have a deep fryer. Don't have enough oil anyway. But they've come up very well in the oven. Wow.
I put enough oil so that they were basically shallow frying in the oven, and they've come up really crispy, soft on the inside. The meat contracted a little on the grill, right?
Yeah, a bit more than expected. Like, I knew it would shrink up a bit, but it shrunk up a bit more than expected. But it's actually, texturally, is very much like what we had.
It's taking me back to Athens, honestly, where we sat on the street, digging into this really hearty food that was using the best produce available. You could taste the quality in Greece. The ingredients were so phenomenal. But I don't reckon we've done a bad job.
This is a super cool one to recreate. And a perfect meal. And great with a cold beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Heaps more street food recreations coming to you on this channel. We hope you enjoyed this one. Remember to hit subscribe for heaps more videos.
And that like button.